I would say I think winning a bike race must be better than heroin. I've never partaken, but I imagine it must be better. Well, so here I'm fighting for second wheel. My teammate's on the front, and as you just saw there, the Voster guy punched me, like literally. And this bunch, honestly, it was going so slow. My heart rate was below, believe it or not, below 90 some parts of this race.
Welcome back. Who am I with?
I'm Red Waters. I am a road cyclist for Speed United, a UCI Continental team. And we're wearing the merch. You can't buy it, but the merch. And it's been my first full season racing UCIs in Europe. And we're just going to take a little look at Tour of Bulgaria, which was a race I did in August/September. And the longest stage race of the year, and it was probably one of my best. So we'll take a look at some of the stages. This first one is stage 1A. Yeah, so this is the first road stage. Yesterday was the prologue, which was like a 1k crit circuit in the rain on cobbles, which was pretty crazy, which I managed to get 7th in, which is pretty cool. So I was still keeping an eye on GC. This we're just watching with maybe 5-6k to go. And we've just gone over a absolutely horrific climb, which Astana had railed all the way. Rail's not quite the word. They'd absolutely blitzed it to the top, and probably dropped half the bunch. Yeah, exactly. It's well into like the second half of the season. The form was really good. This is probably like peak form. And I think it wasn't my first, but it was one of my first 0.2 stage races. I'd done a 0.1 stage race, which was okay, but it was a 0.2, so slightly lower level stage race. And there was quite a few sprint stages, and it was a race that I really felt I could get an opportunity with. So there was, I'd placing a fair amount of pressure on myself to get that proper big like breakthrough result. In my head, I'm always super confident in my head. So internally, I'm saying, I'm gonna win. I need to win. But obviously, it's a bit different in the moment. You're just constantly trying to figure out what's the best place you can be, what's the best decision you can make. Yeah. So the team plan for these sort of sprinty stages was to sprint for either me or Matt. Just depending on who's said they're feeling better. We're both like pretty honest with each other these days, so we know who's feeling a bit fucked and a bit fresh. He'd actually gone in the break early doors, so he was in the early break. He got a fat premium, €500, so that was pretty cool. But
lunch is on him.
Lunch was most definitely on him that day. So that left me in the sprint, and we had a couple guys who'd also made it over the climb. We're looking for me for the sprint. It was, as you can see, at the moment, Voster and ATT are on the front. They're controlling things. So our two guys did a bit to help keep the rest of the guys out the back, and then it was more just trying to get used to this kind of bunch sprint. We didn't really have much experience at all in a bunch sprint at this level, and it really is like quite a big learning curve. It's very different to your local E12 kind of race, especially with the narrow roads, the junctions and things. It's very different, and it is just a bit of a learning curve. So just trying to position yourself in the right place where you're not spending too much energy, but also spending the energy when you need to. It's a funny one. Yeah, as you can see, there was a bit of an acceleration into that corner off the main road. So this is a much narrower road. There's speed bumps, there's road furniture, so a lot harder to move up, a lot of chaos. At this point, I'd been trying to get myself onto the Voster train. I don't think from memory that I'd quite got there. I think I was a couple wheels back. But this is where they burnt a lot of guys to get to the front, to that corner. And actually, we get to this bit now where we're probably 1 or 2Ks to go, and they're burning up their last guy here. And you'll see they actually end up getting swamped. They don't win the race. And I think at the moment, I'm not sure where I am. Probably 15th wheel, maybe 10th. Yeah, probably 10th wheel.
Where do you want to be? If you could just drop yourself into this, where would you want to be right now?
Right now, I want to be 3rd wheel, I think. 3rd, 4th wheel. This is just another one of those things. There you go, 3. I think that was 300 meters to go. I think I was here on the right somewhere.
Yeah, that's 250 there. That's 250.
Yeah, it's 250. I remember I got on the wrong side of a wheel where I probably had some momentum on a chance on the inside of this corner, but I was on the wrong side of the wheel, made a mistake, and ended up having to brake to come around.
There we go.
Yeah,
a pretty
7th for me in that one.
Yeah, we saw a glimpse of the Caribbean arms there.
The glimpse of the Caribbean arms, exactly.
Right, so we've jumped to stage 1B.
1B.
So was this in the afternoon of the race that you?
This was in the afternoon. I think we had about a 3 hours gap. To be fair, it was well done. They gave us like a little packed lunch directly after the stage, and they had hotel rooms. So I literally had a shower, napped for like an hour. Like that was the best nap of my life. And bearing in mind, this was like peak summer in Bulgaria. It was really, really hot, like high 30s. So just to get out of the heat, cool down properly, was very nice.
You can tell that with the amount of pale, bare cycling chests that are on
exactly.
on the screen at the moment.
yeah, so as you can see, EF dev team pacing this climb. Thanks, guys. That was fun. So yeah, you'll see me somewhere at the back, just hanging on last wheel. For this, my objective was just to try and make it as long as I can. Hopefully get over the climb, because obviously if I can get over the climb, not many sprinters are getting over, so it would have been a good chance to get a win if I had got over.
So you did eventually get dropped, unfortunately.
I did, unfortunately. It was only like a kilometre from the top. ATT just did an acceleration that was just obscene. They hit the front a bit earlier, and they were like pressing on hard. They did a final acceleration that popped me with a bunch of other guys. Well, I say I got gaps opened up. Whether I could have hung on if I was at the front or not is up for debate, but yeah, either way, I got popped. Yeah, so this is the little sprint from our group, and then getting second from our, you can't really see very well.
A comparatively poor performance compared to your sprint, and was 16th. So
Yeah.
you're still top 20 at a UCI mountain stage.
I
think that's pretty good.
I was pretty happy, considering my rate, which at the time was still like 78 kilos, 77 kilos, depending on the day. With this dehydration, probably was 77. So yeah, pretty happy to stay with them as long as I did. I definitely out-climbed a lot of climbers. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, like I said, 16th on the hardest stage was pretty good.
So we've jumped across stage 2. So you got 9th on that stage. Was that just a normal sprint?
That was similar to stage 2. It was like pretty hard on the climb. I actually got dropped again, like really near the top. This time, you know, again, like 15 guys off the front. But my teammate Bernardo, he was with me on that climb, and Eric as well. So they ended up pulling us back together. So back in the front group, 2 guys had actually gone clear who were in the original break. And then again, just didn't quite play that sprint right. So ended up with 7th in the bunch, 9th overall.
But still, opportunities left. 3 of them to be exact.
Yeah.
And we are at the third to last one. Stage 3, another flat one. A few lumps and bumps, I assume.
This was stage 3. Stage 3 was the longest stage of the race, actually. This was a really weird stage.
180 kilometers, yeah.
Yeah, 180k, like pretty much dead flat the whole day. My teammate Jonah, poor guy, got in the break with 2 other guys. And this bunch, honestly, it was going so slow. My heart rate was below, believe it or not, below 90 for some parts of this race.
I don't think mine's below 90 right now.
Yeah, like it was proper easy until we got to crosswinds, when it went really hard again. But long story short, it slowed down, and it was Gruppo Compacto full bunch sprint coming into the finish. So this was like the first proper bunch sprint. And this race we were riding for Matt, actually. We decided before this one we're just going to commit early to Matt, and I think oftentimes it's better to commit beforehand to a very specific plan instead of having if you feel one way or the other, do X or Y. Sometimes that works, but I think it can be quite beneficial.
Well, you say that, but I'm looking at the result here and you got second, so... Well,
so here's what happened. Well,
at some point, I assume that plan changed.
The plan unfortunately, Matt had his chain dropped with 700 meters to go. And I was meant to be the last lead out guy. And realizing, I mean, to be honest, it didn't really change that much. All I had to do was just not go as early as I would have gone if he was on my wheel. Yeah, wide roads. The corners came a bit later this time. And also this time, obviously, like I said, full bunch sprint, so we had all our guys, and we did commit. We were like, you know what, let's just try and ride this properly, control it.
There we go, we can see you there, you're sat 3 teammates ahead of you.
As you can see, the blue train, 3 in front of me, and then Matt, the sprinter, on the back. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Just being in that part of the train and being at the front of the race was pretty awesome. As you can see, some accelerations here, people trying to go long. So yeah, as you can see, just like stage 1A, here's a big acceleration coming into a corner. Oh Jesus! Oh my gosh! That's even worse than I remembered, actually. So I went on this side of the central reservation. 2 of my teammates were on the left here. And
let's just go back and watch that again.
I forgot it was that
Christ.
sketchy. Yeah, it really is a game of chicken. It's like once one team goes, everyone has to go. So that's why it's always so sudden.
That power creep of one team wanting to be a centimetre ahead of everyone. Basically a massive game of half-wheeling each other.
Yeah, exactly. It really is the half-wheel race edition.
So as you saw, there's a right-hander coming up.
Yeah, well, the motorbike was meant to divert the riders, but obviously you can't really see that when you've already planned your apex.
There was also a rider, one of the red team.
Yeah, the ATT guy must have bailed on the corner, or the Voster guy bailed,
so you've got
or half bailed.
2 guys here going for the inside, and that guy seems to be going for the outside. And then,
I can't believe he kept that upright. But somehow, I don't think anyone came down miraculously.
I'm not sure how that happened. The red guy vanished into nothing. He's
the
gone.
shadow realm. He's not been seen since.
So obviously, still at the moment, all in for Matt.
Yeah, it was coming up to here.
Did you have like a number that you wanted to drop him off at, that you were like, okay, I'm going to sprint to 250
I wanted to get him into the final corner, or get him out of the final corner on my wheel, and then him sprint off my wheel.
That definitely is you there. You're probably sat 5-6 rows back.
Yeah, so you'll see me on the left. You'll see here Eric will come past me with Matt on his wheel.
There we go.
On the left.
Nice bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, so I see them come past. I'm like, great. I slot in. It's literally perfect. Absolutely, literally perfect. And then it must be just here that Matt drops his chain, just when the camera switches.
So suddenly there's like 2 minutes of the stage left, and you've gone from an organised team role to suddenly being thrown into...
I think at this point I still don't even know, to be honest with you.
That definitely is you there. You're probably sat like 4th wheel.
Well,
there.
so here I'm fighting for second wheel. My teammate's on the front, and as you just saw there, the Voster guy punched me. Like literally, like we're battling for wheel. I'm like, why am I battling? It's my own teammate. And then he punches me. So I settle for, I think, 4th or 5th wheel into this final couple of corners.
So you're there somewhere.
Somewhere in there. I think it was 4th wheel into the final corner. See some guys getting chucked wide into this final corner. This was the guy, literally the perfect position, sprinting out of the final corner. I was 4th wheel, so I had to come around a couple of guys. I ended up getting onto his wheel, but yeah, I just couldn't quite come around him. So it was a very much surprising second, because on the one hand I was like, wait, what just happened? I was meant to be leading out, and then I was like, oh, but I didn't want to come second. I wanted to have won. So it was like a really weird mixture of emotions. And then obviously finding out, because I obviously didn't know Matt had a chain drop at the time. I just knew that he wasn't there anymore. And then finding out after the other chain drop, it's just like, bittersweet.
So stage 4, you're gonna win. No, we won't
well,
start with that one.
no, but the thing is though, that is how it started. My sister messaged me, and she was like, "You're gonna win, right? I feel it in my bones." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna win." And then this happened.
So obviously, you know you're capable of it. I know you're capable of it. Everyone that knows you knows you're capable of it. But a very different thing to actually do it.
Yeah.
So what's this guy doing on the screen at the moment?
So yeah, this guy with, I don't know, maybe 10, 11k to go, we just caught the break of the day. He'd done a solo flyer counter attack. No one wanted to chase. No one wanted to go with him, as you can imagine, when there's 3 or 4 teams controlling the race. So yeah, he was doing his thing. Nice little carrot for the guys chasing. And as usual, the usual suspects, ATT and Voster, were chasing behind. So this one was back to like the previous style, so where we said, red on Matt, discuss on the road, and it got to 30k to go, and I was like, yeah, I'm happy to ride for you if you're feeling good. And I said, yeah, and I'm feeling great, especially with his chain drop. He was still worried that could have happened again. So it's like, if we just go for you, then we don't have to worry too much about that. And as you can see, I think we're just...
That was you that popped out there. You're probably about 30, 40th.
Yeah, I had to re-find my teammates after that little turn, but we ended up all coming together and full lead out mode activated.
So how much do you know about the finish before you actually get there? Are you kind of scouting out on Google Maps? And
this one was probably the one I'd done more, I don't know what you call it, more research, more citing online than any of the other stages actually. So the night before, I had actually gone onto Google Maps. I looked at the stage, I looked at the central reservations. So for example, one road where it looks like a main road near the finish, it actually splits in half the central reservation. So I knew that. I knew which side of the road you want to be. We wanted to be on the right side of the road coming into the corner, and that kind of thing. So I did know it, I think, as well as I could have known it without actually having been there. And there really is no opportunity to recce these kind of races unless you've got money to throw at, coming out a week early and traveling the whole Tour of Bulgaria. Yeah, so just here is the roundabout with like you said, a few k to go. This is where it's, it thins everything out. It becomes impossible to hold your teammate's wheel at some point. So this is what I call like chaos mode, when it goes from very ordered lines to it's all a bit jumbled. There's still a bit of organisation at the front, but mostly jumbled. And you just, you're trying to pass the message up to your teammates, telling them when to go. If you're feeling a rush or someone, coming around to sort of end up blocking you in, you're shouting up to your teammates so the guy on the front can accelerate if he needs to or if he can. And yeah, like you'd say here, we're down just to me, Matt, and then George on the front, just trying to get us to that final good position. We saw Voster and Maloha setting the pace. There's a little rise here, which makes it surprisingly, actually a rise is good, I think, in these situations, because it just means you can move up a bit more easily. You don't have to hit the wind at the speed that you were going previously. So if you do need to move up, the hill is usually the best place to do it. Yeah, I think we're just, probably still roughly mid-pack. I'd say maybe a little too far back. We are coming into the final few corners, and you can't quite see exactly where we are, but we're not in that front, 20 or so riders, which is, it's not like necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it's just risky. You know, you never know what can happen and which way things can go. Yeah, exactly. So you can see Voster have done extremely well. They've got, I think, 3 or 4 guys still. ATT still drilling the front, and you can see we're just on the left there, sneaking up the cars. Yeah, so Matt's leading me up from the inside. The chain actually dropped like just when he'd finished his effort, which is unfortunate, but I guess it was good that it was then and not before. So I had to just go full gas into the corner, a bit of a safe dive bomb.
And then at this kind of 250 to go, about to turn right, quite a sharp corner. The live footage cuts out a few seconds here. Quite an important few seconds, as you can see there.
And
but that's you. Who's at the front?
They all crashed. I came swooping up the inside, did like the best sprint I've done all year up to that point.
So, I mean, there's still like a good, well, you can see 150, there's 200 metres when you launched. That's not an easy sprint to do on your own, but...
Yeah, managed to hold it to the line. Had a quick look behind me and I saw, you know, I just imagined there's someone on my wheel. I looked behind, there was no one there, and I already knew at that exact moment that was the dub secured.
But obviously, not a very ordinary sprint there. Let's go back over that sprint again. Obviously, slightly eventful, slightly lucky.
Slight bit of luck.
But,
yeah,
you know, you won and those guys finished on their arse.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say I'd have more
bit.
sympathy if it wasn't the same team that punched me in the stage before and then end up winning. So I just don't have any sympathy whatsoever, I'm afraid.
So we can see you here. You're sat.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
You're sat probably what, 5th or 6th, which is maybe a little bit further back than you.
Probably a bit further back even than
but
that.
You've got a corner that you can move up. So you can
This is a proper dive one we did here.
10 or 20 positions. Well, maybe not that much, but. And then suddenly.
Yeah. So it literally.
6 riders go down in front of you.
They had the most open line. Yeah, well, exactly. They had the most open line into the corner. The first guy must have just dabbed his brakes. He came down, and it was just like Dom was like bump, bump, bump. And like the first time, I'm like, oh, this is like quite lucky for me. And then the second guy goes, and like you know your thoughts are going fast. You're like, oh, this is really quite lucky now. And then the third guy goes, and like, oh, this has just fully opened up the road.
But I mean, you can see it there. You're in the inside. You're in the best position for the corner anyway.
Yeah.
You would have overtaken those guys going into it. And then opened up your sprint.
I think I still would have had a pretty good chance winning. So,
a nice little skid there, and then, yeah.
And this was literally just churn the biggest sprint I could do. Didn't look behind me, and then yeah, as you can see, 100 meters to go. Had a quick shoulder look. Oh, there's like a bit of a gap there, and then just start accelerating. Yeah, a pretty good feeling. I think winning a bike race must be better than heroin. I've never partaken, but I imagine it must be better. And there's the signature celebration.
Your first UCI stage race win.
Yeah.
Well, just your first UCI win.
First win in Grenada Champs colours as well.
At the Tour of Bulgaria. The tour of a country.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically the Tour de France.
It basically is, and I feel like
in Bulgaria.
yeah, exactly.
What are you feeling right then, and then what are you feeling like 5 minutes later?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of guys know the feeling of winning a bike race. Just pure euphoria. It doesn't really. It just like there's just nothing in your brain apart from this moment. But weirdly, it didn't hit as much as I wanted to in like after 20 minutes because we're so focused on like the next stage. You don't really get a chance to chill out. It was just like that was incredible. Okay, time to eat. Stuff my face full of carbs.
So last stage, another opportunity for a sprint. Didn't quite go your way this time.
It was a pretty slow run-in, and there was like a sort of front group of riders that just ended up rotating at the front as surges kept coming and going. This was just it just didn't quite go my way. Where I thought a rush would go up one side of the road, and it didn't.
We can see you on the left-hand side there.
Yeah, you can see me there, just on my teammate Eric's wheel.
Guys.
In fact, you can see on the video I had to stop my sprint. I remember that now. I just had to stop sprinting for a bit. I think it was just across the wheels, and then as you can see, I missed that front sort of contingent of riders, that front sort of group, and was just coming in just behind them.
Not a bad week.
No, not a bad week at all. Only once out of the top 10 on stage 2. Although annoyingly, I ended up 16th on GC as well, which was the same as my worst result. So that was a bit of an L, but as you can imagine, all the guys who finished ahead on that stage were ahead on GC.
So there we go, not a bad year. Yeah, very good year actually.
Yeah, still best year ever. As long as I keep getting my best year ever every year, then I'll be happy. And the moment I go backwards, I won't be very happy.
I just wanted to show the consistency and the progression of
Yeah.
our pro cycling stats. So start of the year off with a couple of DNFs. You know,
Mechanical. They were mechanical.
Okay,
kind of.
mechanical DNFs.
Yeah.
Kind of finding your groove, and then straight into the trio of Slovenian.
Yeah, they were super fun actually.
Banging out 21st, 14th.
That's
and
a crash.
And a crash.
That would have been even better.
Like an amazing start to do these kind of first UCI races, and you're banging out top 20s like they're nothing. And then boom, first top 10.
First top 10 under the wires, yeah.
Another DNF, you got sick that time.
I did get sick. I had horrible food poisoning, ironically, not even from the race. Just got it at home.
Another kind of Belgian nationals, 1.2s, top 20s. Kreisbreis looked like it was pretty brutal.
That was actually very, very brutal. And it rained the entire race.
And we know how much you enjoy the rain. And then bang, straight into Tour of Bulgaria. Top 10s like they're nothing. Another Bulgarian.
That was lead out. That was lead out duties for those ones.
And still banging out better results than you were at the start of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
And then what's this one? Czech one.
Czech South. That was a good race actually.
Again, top 20. A few more nationals to end out the year. Podium at the Caribbean Road Champs that were apparently in France, in Guadeloupe.
In France.
And and then finish off the year with a 6th.
With a 6th, yeah. Happy to end that of the year, and then just happy to get home. I was very, very tired by the end of that.
What are we going to see on this 2024?
We're going to see multiple ones on the results column. Gotta be.
Lots of 11th.
No, I hope not. I really hope not. Hopefully a win in a one day race. That would be really cool. A 1.2 or maybe a 1.1. Is that a wrap?